A group of workers is busy packing marshmallows when a masked intruder suddenly takes down the guard outside. He pushes into the building, fighting through anyone who gets in his way. A man jumps him, a woman tries to help, and 2 more workers attack, but the intruder overpowers all of them with ruthless efficiency. After shooting one attacker and knocking out another, he makes his way into a room stacked with cash, where a man is dancing with headphones on, oblivious to everything. The intruder fills a bag with money, knocks out 2 more people who walk in on him, and calmly heads outside, where police officers are already waiting. He surrenders without resistance. At the station, the masked intruder is revealed to be Terry, a decorated war hero who once risked everything for his country. The commissioner questions how a man like him could end up committing robbery, but Terry explains he had no choice. He can't afford medicine or food, and he's barely surviving in the projects while caring for a sick daughter. Hearing this, the commissioner offers him a deal. Infiltrate Daignan Prison, a privately run facility controlled by a tyrannical warden suspected of serious human rights abuses. To gather proof, they need someone inside, and Terry is their only chance. Faced with years behind bars and a daughter battling a dangerous blood clot, he reluctantly agrees. Soon after, Terry is taken to Daignan Prison, shackled with other inmates. Lieutenant Killian immediately establishes control, implanting tracking chips and striking anyone who resists, including Terry. Inside his cell, Terry finds a hidden phone tucked inside a book, along with instructions explaining how to send evidence back to the commissioner. Before he can settle, Killian orders all inmates out for inspection, barking commands as the prisoners scramble into line.
Today, sister, get over there, boy. Move it!
During his first meal, Terry tries to remain unnoticed, but an inmate named Mongol knocks his tray to the floor and demands he bow in submission. Terry refuses and walks away, shocking the cafeteria. In the yard, inmates like Joker and Freeway try to pull him into alliances, warning him he won't survive alone, but Terry chooses to keep his distance. Later, while mopping floors during his work duty, Terry witnesses growing tension in the laundry room. One inmate keeps ordering others around, acting like he owns the place. A rival group finally confronts him, and a fight breaks out instantly. Terry watches as Freeway's crew handles a fight, but instead of getting involved, he quietly walks away. Back in his cell, he overhears Mongol and his men assaulting a new inmate. Knowing he'll be their next target, he slips a book into a pillowcase to use as a weapon. When the gang finally rushes in, Terry fights back with everything he has. Even though he's outnumbered, he holds his ground. The situation turns dangerous when one attacker pulls a blade, until a neutral inmate named Bones steps in, giving Terry the opening he needs. Officers storm in moments later, cuffing everyone as inmates cheer from the upper tiers. Freeway's group watches closely, taking note of Terry's strength. Thrown into solitary, Terry stays focused by thinking about his daughter. She becomes the reason he keeps training and pushing himself mentally. Eventually, officers escort him to the warden's office, where the warden is disciplining Mongol for launching an unsanctioned attack. After a forced apology, Mongol is taken away and the room empties. The warden suddenly shifts into a friendly, almost fatherly tone, chatting casually about family and hinting that Terry's discipline makes him valuable for the underground fighting program known as the Dungeon. He suggests Terry could even earn early privileges if he plays along. Gina, one of the guards, escorts Terry to a new cell. She recognizes him as the sergeant who once saved her life, though she quickly assures him that won't earn him any special treatment. Inside the new cell, Terry meets Bones properly. Calm and disciplined, Bones explains the basic rules of living together and warns that the dungeon is unlike anything else in the prison. Terry insists he will handle it. He must, because getting back to his daughter is his only priority. Bones gently warns that holding on to the outside world can destroy a man inside Daignan, but he offers to stand by Terry if he's willing. Later, Terry secretly contacts the commissioner, informing him about the dungeon. He and Bones are then moved to a training room, where Bones explains the brutal nature of the underground arena. Their tension softens as Terry shows some of his own skills, and Bones admits Terry reminds him of someone from his past. Out in the yard, Bones gives Terry a quick tour of the prison's power structure, pointing out the major gangs and explaining that Freeway's group even learned their fighting style from him. During another training session, Bones tells Terry that survival in Degnon requires complete acceptance of its harsh reality. If Terry is going to survive his first dungeon fight, he'll need skill, discipline, and absolute focus. That night, officers escort the two men to the dungeon. Inmates line the walkways, shouting as the underground arena fills to capacity. The warden appears above the pit like a king on a throne, while Joker works the crowd, announcing that the dungeon runs without rules. The first fight forces two members of Mongol's crew to battle each other. One quickly dominates and knocks his opponent out, sending the arena into a frenzy. Terry quietly records everything for evidence. Next, Freeway enters and takes on two challengers at once, winning with easy confidence as the crowd explodes. Then, Joker calls Terry into the pit. His opponent, El Vampiro, bursts in with dramatic energy, taunting the audience. The bell rings, and El Vampiro charges forward aggressively. In the dungeon, Terry dodges the first charge, but still takes a few shots to the stomach. He blocks most of the blows and pushes his opponent back, only to be swept onto the ground. The two roll and trade positions until the Mexican fighter ends up on top and bites him just as the round ends. During the break, Bones urges Terry to stay focused. When the next round begins, Terry comes in sharper, avoids every takedown attempt, and lands a single powerful punch that ends the fight instantly. The arena erupts, and the officials overseeing the dungeon are thrilled by their new contender. Not long after, Freeway storms into the office above the arena, demanding to know why Bones is training the newcomer. He's told that Bones chose to do it on his own. Freeway also brings up the promise of freedom he was given, only to learn that he must first defeat a top fighter from another facility. The two sides calm down and eventually reach an understanding. Later, a lawyer arrives to offer Terry free representation. She acknowledges his military service and knows about his daughter's health, promising to fight for his release. Terry accepts her card, but doubts anything will change, insisting he'll handle things himself. During lunch, Freeway and his crew confront Terry and Bones, warning Terry to stay clear of their business. In the gym, Bones talks about Freeway's past, explaining that he once tried to guide him, but Freeway chose a different path. He also notes that Terry and Freeway share similar backgrounds, military discipline and street experience. But Terry has something Freeway doesn't, a daughter depending on him. Bones urges him to stay tactical for the next fight. When Terry returns to the dungeon for his second match, he ends it almost instantly with one decisive strike, silencing the crowd before they burst into cheers. Later, back in the cell, Bones opens up about his own past, revealing he's imprisoned for avenging his sister. The next day in the dining hall, Terry notices the way other inmates stare. Bones explains it's because the entire prison now sees him as a legitimate threat. While working his cleaning shift, Terry is suddenly ambushed by two of Freeway's men armed with knives. Using only his mop and bucket, he fends them off until Gina intervenes and ends up injured in the struggle. Terry is brought before the warden, who thanks him for saving her life and preventing a scandal. Terry demands a fight with Freeway. The warden initially refuses, insisting he earn it through the ranks, but eventually agrees. Meanwhile, Freeway is furious with his men for acting without his approval. When Lieutenant Killian arrives, he orders the gang members out of the room. The officers then punish the two men severely, before executing them to cover up the failed attack. Killian informs Freeway that he must face Terry next. Hesitant at first, Freeway is forced by the warden to accept. Meanwhile, Terry trains relentlessly with Bones, each session reminding him why he's fighting his daughter. Fight night arrives, and the prison is electric with anticipation. As fighters are announced, the crowd cheers, and Freeway enters the arena first. He starts strong, but Terry quickly adapts, landing a decisive punch before the round ends. In the second round, he gains the upper hand, dominating the fight until Bones intervenes. The audience erupts, and Terry returns to his cell to report to the police commissioner, though no reply comes, leaving him frustrated. In the dining hall, other inmates begin treating Terry differently, acknowledging his rising status. The lieutenant privately warns a guard that Terry's growing popularity could be a problem. Later, Terry is called to the office and offered a deal to improve his standing, which he declines. The warden then shows him the inner workings of the prison, including inmates forced to pack goods for outside sale. Disgusted, Terry calls it modern-day slavery, but the warden insists it's business. He walks away, shaken. He is then taken to the clinic, where the bodies of gang members who attacked him are displayed. The grim warning is clear. Survival in Degnon comes at an extreme cost. Back in the office, Terry is stunned to see the police commissioner sitting in the warden's chair, revealing his complicity. Despite Terry's earlier refusal of a deal, the plan continues. He is expected to fight a challenger from another prison. Bones is dragged in, restrained, and subjected to an electric device to force Terry's compliance. Seeing his cellmate suffer, Terry's resolve hardens. He reluctantly agrees to fight. Realizing that winning freedom will require decisive action, Terry begins strategizing. Bones discreetly passes notes through trusted inmates, forming a growing network to support their plan. Terry also contacts the lawyer who had promised to help, handing her a memory card and instructing her to leave immediately. The next day, a visiting warden brings a formidable new champion, claiming the original fighter has died. The home warden protests, but the match and the wager must continue. The fight begins, and Terry lands an initial punch, barely affecting his opponent. The challenger retaliates brutally, headbutting him and repeatedly slamming him to the floor. Flat on the ground, Terry notices a glittering object in his hand, a relic he thought lost. He tosses it into his opponent's face, creating an opening. Seizing the moment, Terry overwhelms the fighter, dragging him down and pinning him, memories of his daughter flashing through his mind. As chaos erupts in the arena, Mongol begins fighting the guards, sparking a full-blown brawl. The visiting warden is ordered to leave, and as Killian escorts him out, DEA officers rush in shouting for control, but the prison descends into complete disorder. Terry, focused and determined, stands ready amidst the chaos, proving that nothing, not even Degnion prison, can break him. Even Killian cannot defy the stand-down order, and a shot takes him down where he stands. Amid the chaos, but in the hallway, Terry steps in, blocking his escape. The warden fires a taser, but Terry dodges. Pulling out a gun, the warden shoots at Terry, who is wearing a vest, and hits the floor, dazed. Just as the warden prepares to finish him, Bones intervenes like a scene from slow-motion action. He tackles the warden, lands powerful strikes, and knocks the gun away. Calmly, he strolls over to Terry, giving him a proud, triumphant pat, leaving the warden a moment to seize the gun again. At that moment, a DEA agent bursts in and shoots the warden in the arm, stopping him dead in his tracks. Arresting officers drag the fallen warden away as he laughs maniacally, powerless. Moments later, the mastermind behind the operation waits in an office. The lawyer enters and thanks him for exposing the prison's crimes, revealing that the police commissioner is also in custody. With the system finally paying attention, justice is set to prevail. She delivers the best news of all. Terry has been fully pardoned, and the government will cover every expense for his daughter's medical care. Terry returns to his cell to thank Bones, only to hear that it was Terry who gave him a reason to live again. Promising to stay in touch, Terry walks out to cheers from the inmates as he steps toward freedom. Outside, the attorney greets him and drives him home, where he finally reunites with his daughter, who runs into his arms, thrilled to have her father back. True to his word, Terry ensures that Bones and even Freeway will have their releases worked on. Meanwhile, the fallen warden is thrown into a cell, shouting that he still runs the place, but his voice echoes into emptiness. Reality sinks in. He is now just another inmate, powerless like those he once ruled. Broken and defeated, he finally begins to cry, the truth of his downfall settling in. Terry has earned his freedom. Justice has been served. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments below.